What's going on YouTube, and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at an RODI system. Now the reason I'm talking about an RODI system is because I had issues with running through DI resin on practically a weekly basis, if you want to call it that. So what I mean by that is, if you're new to the hobby, you will know that at some point you'll come to a level of reefing, if you do plan on keeping coral, in which you will find it more beneficial and efficient for you to create your own RODI water. Now, there are cheap ones out there. I don't recommend them. Thanks to Telegram and the rest of the Reef Squad, I went ahead and purchased this BRS 4-stage system. If you can move up to the double DI resin canister, all the better for it. But I went ahead and purchased one separately. So the reason I'm making this video is because the way I originally had this set up was, the very traditional way. Water would come from this tap. It would filter through the sediment filter, the chlorine and carbon block, and then it would go into the 2 DI resins, and then it would come out and it would filter into my ATO system over there and whatnot. But the problem I was having is I'm running on a well. And if you don't know anything about running on a well, generally well water has high amounts of sediment and minerals and whatever other junk that comes in there. So in my case, I was burning through DI super quickly. I would literally fill this up. I used to have a 50-gallon tote here that I used to make my water in. I'd fill up my RO container over here, my RDI container over here for my ATO, and then fill up this bucket. I'd do my water changes, and then that would be it. I would be out. I would have expensed all of my DI resin, and I was paying so much money for this, and it would piss me off because every time I would need it in a pinch, I would have already burnt through my DI resin. So one day, I was on a live stream that was hosted by Mel's Reef. Now, if you don't know anything about Mel's Reef, he's been doing this for a very, very, very long time. Go check him out on YouTube. But I was listening into one of his live streams, and he was talking about how it had been a few months since he had changed his DI resin, and although it wasn't expensed all the way, he was going to go ahead and replace it anyways. Now, I found that very troubling at the fact that I was burning through 2 of these DI resin canisters after making about 100 gallons of water or so. So I would reach out to all of my people. Not even the Reef Squad really had an answer for me, and that's my initial go-to. We really were puzzled as to why I was burning through so much DI resin. So I went ahead and I messaged Mel's Reef in the chat, and his response was, hey, if you're on a well, go ahead and check to see if there's high amounts of carbon dioxide in your water. Now, I really didn't have a good, safe way of doing this, but it was in the back of my mind as something I should attempt to try. So what I ended up doing was I actually went to my local fish store and I asked them, I said, hey, are you having issues with burning through DI resin? And he replied, yeah. He's like, I burn through this stuff all the time. I don't get it either. I'm not understanding what's happening. So I told him about the theory I learned from Mel's Reef's video, and I left it at that. I knew I was gonna try it eventually. So I went ahead, and before I was using the BRS DI resin, nothing in particular difference between them and anyone else, but I ended up switching, and I just got DI resin from, I believe it was saltwateraquarium.com. I could be mistaken, but it was one of the main saltwater provider websites. So I purchased some DI resin, and after doing some research, I found someone else that said they ran into the same issue, and this is how they solved it. So I knew this was something that I was going to try for sure to see if it worked out for me. So I had just bought this DI resin. I wanted to make sure that I didn't burn through it. So I said, this is the time. Let me go ahead and try to come up with something. Now, remember that the J-Cod, I believe it's a DCS 2000 that I mentioned in my previous video. All I did was I went to the store. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I went to the store and I just bought some plumbing supplies. As you can see it right here. and I plumbed it up to this pump. Now, the reason for that is I went ahead and I bypassed the DI resin. So water now comes through here. It goes through the sediment, through the 5 micron filter, and then it goes straight into this container. So this is our water only. And then I use the J-Cod pump to then pump water independently through the 2 DI resins and then to my source. And as you can see, it comes right out of this. Now, I actually was waiting to make sure that this worked before I went ahead and told you guys anything. And I'm pleased to report it has literally been about 3 months. I have made tons and tons and tons of water, and I'm still running on 0, okay? And you might say, hey, could it be that the TDS meter is faulty? And here's my response to that. Shortly after I did this mod, my TDS meter, my old TDS meter went bad. So I happened to order another one, and that's the one which you see here. And as you can see, I know I'm not pumping much water through it right now. It is still reading 0. So if you have an issue with burning through DI resin, here is the solution. Pump water, make RO water, have it made into a container, plumb. I definitely recommend the J-Cod DCS 2000, but any pump you can plumb, pump it back through the 1/4-inch line, through the DI resin into your source container, and that will be the solution. So thank you guys for tuning in. I just figured I'd share that with you guys. I immediately went to my store, my local fish store, let them know the solution, because this is all about helping each other out and being more efficient and not making the hobby too expensive, and trying to find ways that's gonna benefit us all. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about what I just said, just message me in the comment section below, or shoot me an email at budgetaquatics@gmail.com, or DM me on Instagram at budgetaquatics. So thank you guys for tuning in. Yep, fish room's still dirty. Next video coming up, guys. Hopefully we're gonna be talking about the J-Bow CP25 return pumps. We're gonna be doing a bunch of hacks, and we're gonna be talking about a lot of equipment. So tune in next time for the next video. Thank you guys. You have a good rest of your day. Have a good one.